is the GigaLife own Smart Signature. Simplified by the Philippines' fastest mobile data network. The choice is simple. Move up to Smart Signature and make your mark. How do I know it's meant to be? Simple, smart ako.
Simple, smart ako. Ayan, diba? Siri, Cloyd, Yunbin, Captain Ri. Yan ating smart signature data provider. Yan. Anyway, sabi ko nga kanina, yung shirt na suot ko, no? Miracle E para kay Enrico Urbano. Sa lahat ng gusto tumulong, kontakin lang ang 0922-873-1075. Again. So ngayon, ang guest natin is si Coach Kalvin Sangalang. Okay, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Now, he's one of the international coach of junior NBA. We will learn a lot from him about culture and teaching abroad. You know, because it's a different way to handle people from foreign countries tsaka dito sa Philippines. So again, we're just waiting for Coach Kalvin to show up and so we can talk. So, hey, Coach Kalvin, how are you?
Coach. I'm good. Gandang gabi.
Coach, sorry medyo natagalan tayo.
No problem, Coach.
Problem, something like that, you know, which is hindi natin masyado ang tawag doon, can get away with it.
Yeah, sure, Coach. No problem.
Ayan. Coach, para sa ating mga viewers, siguro mas maganda magpakilala ka muna who is Coach Kalvin when you start coaching para, you know, they have to get an overview of who Coach Kalvin is.
Okay. So, I'm Kalvin. I'm from Coach Kalvin Sangalang. I'm from Bulacan, originally from Bulacan. My path to coaching is very different from others. So, I didn't play. I didn't play when I was younger. I started playing around high school, going to college. So I studied in UP Diliman. I took up journalism, and then I played in college for the PE classes there. And then my original sports was chess. I competed professionally for chess when I was younger. So after graduation for university, I worked in a public relations firm related to my course. My first mentor was my professor also from the university. And my first account was NBA. So I started working for the media for NBA in 2007. And then ever since then, I took on many hats. So I jumped from media relations and public relations to event side to basketball operations side, all for NBA Asia. And started in 2014. They sent me abroad to help them expand their program, their junior NBA program. And in 2018, they asked me to be one of their lead coaches. So I also invited some of our local coaches, our friend coaches, to go with me abroad to do junior NBA.
It's nice, no? It's a journey of life, no? It's a different path. Talagang hindi natin masabi kung anong destination mo, no? Sometimes I myself has a different direction. Well, I was playing basketball way back when I was high school till college. Played for Team B of UST. But at the end of the day, that was the 4 championships of UST, so it's really hard to enter Team A. So I was like hired like a head coach and an assistant coach for the college department. So I said, yeah, let's take it. You know, I still don't want to get away from basketball, so that's why I focus in coaching. Then I finished my degree, economics. Then all of a sudden, I'm a coach. I studied in UP. Then, yun nga, hindi natin alam kung saan tayo prepare ni Lord, no? It's just really embracing and loving what you want. So I guess siguro yan yung journey na, yung path na dinaanan mo, Coach Kalvin. So, Was it hard, changing your course from one another into like being a coach? You
Mm,
know,
Honestly, coach, for the longest time, I was thinking more on the I love sports. I love the event side of it, like how to organize tournaments, how to manage events. When I was working with the NBA, my mentor, my first boss, Miss Tessa Mines, ninang din namin siya sa kasal. I owe her my career because she gave me the break when I was starting. I was very young then, fresh from university. So my main job is public relations for the NBA. But given that I also love basketball, so she allowed me to venture into the event side of it, learn about NBA, meet other people within the NBA organization, not just limited to media. And then from then on, I went to events, and then from there I went to the coaching side. It's different because I considered myself back then as a very young coach, and I don't really think that I'll be able to prove myself as a coach in the Philippine setting. Because as you know, in the Philippines, usually if you're that age, around 20 to 25, maybe the most you can do or you will be is a skills trainer or maybe an assistant coach. So for me, just take the opportunity that you have and learn as much as you can while growing up, because I'm not in a rush to do anything as long as I'm within the organization. I'm learning all the facets of, maybe that's my advantage also now. Aside from just coaching, I also know the events side of it, the media side, the marketing side of it. So, and of course, they trust me to also help them abroad to further increase their expansion. Yeah.
galing, galing. So parang all aspects of the organization, the coaching, lahat yun, dinaanan mo yung path na yun, ano? Before we continue, I'd like to say hi to Coach Melky Villanueva and Coach Rain
Hi,
Alarte.
Coach Mel.
They're watching and
Hey, good
supporting
evening, Coach Rain.
us, and especially mga kasama mo to sa junior NBA. We'll go further to
Yeah.
that. So, Coach, your first stint in international coaching.
Mm.
What country is that?
Malaysia.
How was it?
Malaysia.
Because the first time you set foot on that country and
Mm.
teaching these kids, it's a challenge already. So, can
Yeah.
you just take us back?
Okay, Coach. It's a bit tricky though because I was not officially part of the basketball operations team. So as I said, it's like this. I'm part of the events team when I go there, but because I know the program inside and out, every detail from setting it up to assigning coaches, how many cones, how many balls do you need, how many kids will move on, the scorecards, everything. When I was sent there, it's to help the events set it up. But because they also lack coaching experience, and being a Filipino, they all know that Filipinos, you can also do drills and coach and all this. They tapped me as a dual hat and just help out with the basketball operation side of it. So when they saw me there, I was being hired. By the way, all my travels abroad are paid for by NBA. So
Wow.
sometimes it's for the bench side, sometimes it's for the basketball side. Recently, it's mainly for the basketball side. But it's like this. So when I was in Malaysia, that was in 2014, Malaysia and Thailand, when they were expanding the program, uh, they asked me to help the local agencies there and teach them how we run it in the Philippines, because the program started in the Philippines in 2007. So they need the expertise from the Philippines. So when I was there and they asked me also to do the coaching, surprisingly, Coach Bujing, in Thailand, I met Coach Raha Mortel. He's a Filipino also, and he has a Filipino group of coaches there. So immediately, I feel at home because if I need, for example, 100 coaches, there are 10 who are Filipinos. So it's very easy for me to just blend in with them, and they also teach me how to do it in Thailand. And then when I went to Malaysia, I met with Coach Lito Vergara, so also from UP, head coach of UP. So they also help with junior NBA there. So for me, when I went there, the expertise of running the event, because junior NBA is a bit tricky. Um, it's grassroots program, and the coaching, there's really like a template on like what to do as a coach when you deal with kids. And NBA is very particular about guiding coaches on how to do it. So when I was there, when I started, I feel at home. Because the other Filipinos who are also there, and that's the first time I realized that we are really everywhere. The Filipinos are everywhere. Like surprisingly, like, hey, I was talking to them in English, and then suddenly they told me, Coach, Filipino? Yes, yes. Are you Filipino too? And then so we were already working because I don't know who I will be working with. So I was briefing, for example, 50 coaches, and then after the briefing, 10 of them approached me and told me they're Filipinos. So for me, it's like, oh, okay, it's easier.
Parang you had an extra spare tire when you talk to them kasi parang dating meron na ako ditong support group
Yes,
kagad dahil you have these Filipinos with you,
yes.
diba? Meron pang nag-hi sa atin si Coach Kino Bautista from Mandaluyong of San Filipenary and si Jonathan Yutan from Cavite. Yeah, magandang gabi sa inyo. They're watching.
Mhm.
Coach, do you still have those files? Those are 2007. Do you still keep those files, the
Yes,
pictures and
okay.
everything?
Yes, coach. So in 2007, I was on OJT for the company, for the media. The first one is 2007. We were in Don Bosco. That's the time of Kiefer Ravena, Aljon Mariano, and the tournament director was Norman Black. So they invited 16 schools. I actually did a small write-up because there's a guy from San Beda. There's a kid from San Beda who competed. So San Beda fielded two teams, Team A and Team B. Out of the 16, Ateneo also fielded two teams, and the rest are different schools. One of them has one arm, playing center, one arm.
I
And
think that's
immediately,
Mercado from San Beda, Alabang yata.
yeah, I think
Remember?
I forgot his name, but I remember that his dad was a celebrity, like an art, a commercial model for a detergent brand. So I didn't know. I just approached the kid and I told him why are you here? How do you feel now being part of this inauguration of this program? And my write-up was like published. So again, my background was media back then, and then from then on, I saw the junior NBA's mission, which is like, of course, find talents, help kids develop their skills, because that back then there were many tournaments, but uh, it's more geared towards competition. It's just like you compete with another team and then you select the all stars. That's it. Back then there were values involved, and they were teaching values and trying to reach out to those who are not from the good schools, and try to reach out to the other communities. So and on that note, Coach Bujing, I kept files, and also when I started working full time with my company in 2008, I also started the Facebook page. Facebook was a bit brand new back then. Facebook page for Junior NBA. So when I was starting that one, it's funny because I actually wanted to use it only to dump files, because back then all the clippings, press releases, everything, they're physical newspapers. We need to buy 20 newspapers every day of different tabloids and broadsheets, cut, put them in a file, send it to Hong Kong. So the first official report with your media mileage, the values, how many reach, the number of airtime we got from TV stations, radio stations, we compiled it, the company compiled it, and we sent it to Hong Kong. And they were telling us that we did so good of a job that they actually wanted to use that template for their other events as well. Because as you know, Junior NBA is just one of the events of NBA. It's not just that. We have NBA 3X, we have NBA Fit, NBA Gatorade Training Center. There's so many others. And back then, there was no NBA Philippines yet. So started 2008, I compiled everything on the Facebook page, put it in albums. So there were no people liking it because it's not marketed as an official page. I just use it for myself. And then eventually, when I left and it became the page now, it has thousands of followers now. And for me, it's like those things that when you look back, like, it seems a bit of like you're just playing around, just trying to figure it out on the way, and it leads to good things.
So basically, the page that you put up is the same page that they're using now?
Yes, but they changed the name now.
Okay. So the files are still there.
Yes, you can find the oldest album there. So for example, Coach Bujing, we went to Marikina Sports Complex. We did the NBA Cares repainting. It was 2007. We went there. We repainted the basketball court. When I put the photos there, it's mainly for our group to just have a file, because back then we have photographers, official photographers. They send us the files, and then the files is in a CD, like thousands of photos. It's so hard to cull everything and put into caption and everything. So what I do, I select it, and then I put some captions and I upload on Facebook. And then the master file we send to the NBA, the raw photos. So it's just like a timeline, like a diary, a memory of traveling down memory lane. It's good. It's still there.
You're the perfect person that I need. You're the very perfect person. 2007, it was Carlos Singson, right?
Yes, even before that one, Coach. Before that
Even
one, yeah, Coach Car.
that was Ate Shena Olaso, who was
Yes, Ate Shena. They're the first one to work with us with that one.
okay. I have a homework for you.
Yes, Coach.
Scroll
Hmm?
the very first, all the photos there. You look at who's the deputy coach of Norman Black there.
Oh,
Then go back to me.
okay, Coach. I look.
Okay?
Was it
I,
you?
hindi, basta tingnan mo lang siya. Because I still remember those stories, di ba? Very
Yeah.
clear. Di ba?
Yes, Coach.
I'm happy kasi sobrang big na ng junior NBA,
Yeah.
daming magagaling na coaches now, coach, if I remember right, Coach Gary Radaza, Coach
Yes.
Montalvo, Coach Chino Tan, Coach Melke Villanueva, uh, Coach Rain Olarte, Liza Labatingan. Those are the coaches that you guys develop.
Yeah.
Coach Ethel also was there. Dami and dami. So talagang your program, coach to coach program is really great. So
Yeah.
sobrang taas kamay ko sa inyo. So what's next for junior NBA? I mean, you've been doing this already. It's like a routine already for the coaches every year, di ba? Pero bago tayo sa future, tinamaan tayo ng pandemic na
Yes.
natigil lahat ng program. So ano yung
Yeah.
ginawa niyong adjustment?
Okay. So I was in Indonesia during the pandemic hit. So I was supposed to be there until April. But March, because we heard of the lockdown in the Philippines, that the airports will be closed. So they asked me to just go home. We'll just figure it out because everyone needs to go back home. Back then, there were really no reports of how serious it will be. So we were actually thinking that it may still happen. Junior NBA may still happen at one point in other countries. We didn't realize it will be whole Southeast Asia. So it was cut short around March. So aside from Indonesia, there were no other junior NBA for this year. It's the first time that it happened since the opening of it. We're sad, but of course safety first. So what they did in the beginning, they tried to consolidate using social media. So they use their Instagram page, the Junior NBA Asia Instagram page, to engage with kids. They also did two innovation. One is the home court competition, home court app competition. So they launched it. They divided Junior NBA into their regions, their respective regions. So Asia Pacific, Swan, China, Latin America, and those. So they proceeded to do an online tournament of sorts, because basically you're not competing with anyone. It's just your phone, and then you do this home court application and you get the highest score. And Philippines actually bannered the Asia Pacific one, and we were the champion for the boys division. And then another innovation that they did was the Virbela. It's like a virtual campus. So what they did, it was last week. For 3 days, they opened it up for the Junior NBA Global Championship experience. There were hundreds of kids from different parts of the world, all time zone. There was a virtual world. So they invited, say, 10 to 20 kids per country. So we actually had kids who created their avatar. It's a campus. They have games inside. So it's more of like they still feel that there's camaraderie and connection with all the junior NBA programs around the world, although it's done online. So that's what they did for at least for 2020.
Yung yung program na parang I think it's an app na yung reaction drills, parang
Yes,
something
coach.
like
That's
that.
Home Court app. Home Court app. The name is Home Court. It's available on iOS.
Yun yung gusto ko tanong para the
Yes,
kids
coach.
can enjoy it also. Di ba yun yung parang react,
Yes,
bilateral.
yes.
Can you elaborate that more?
Yeah.
Paano makakaano niya, maka-download? Kasi it will be very helpful, lalo na ngayon.
Yes, coach. So it's not just for basketball, it's multi-sport, but at least for the basketball part, NBS partnered with the app developer. So they ask drills from renowned coaches and renowned players also. And then they're like, for example, I just give an example, a Coach Bujing challenge, something like that, named after a player. And then the kids will need to follow it. It's basically an app. You download it on iOS. It's not available on Android, sadly. So because what they told us is the calibration of the cameras for Android phones are different because there's so many brands. But for iOS, it's the same for iPhone. So the calibration, because you need to put the camera in front of you, stand it behind the camera, and then it needs to be calibrated to your hands. It's similar to the Xbox Kinect, something like
Yeah.
that, like an IR thing. It views you. And then, so say, for example, you have a reaction time here, you need to tap it, then you get points. The button, it will start from green going down to red. And then if you touch it when it's green, you get more points. So the faster you go, the better. And it also measures accurately dribbling. For example, you dribble, it says 50 times. You need to dribble 50 times. If it thinks that your action is not accurate, it will not count it to the total on the top. So our kids are actually good. So our kids, one is from Bacolod, and then the other one is bien from Mandaluyong. They join on their own. It's free. It's very easy to do. So Home Court app, you can download it, and you can also view the Junior NBA Instagram page. There's many challenges there. So they also actually, coach, did like a copy the NBA player challenge. So for example, a Kobe fadeaway, you need to watch it. It's like the 10-second video or 5-second video, and then you need to copy it, and then NBA pasted it together and then posted it online. So
Galing. So maganda yan, para yung mga kabataan, our kids can imitate and follow yung mga drills and reaction
yes, coach. Yeah.
to keep them busy, diba?
Yes,
Kasi
coach.
ngayon, it's really more online lang eh.
Yeah.
Diba? It's still pandemic. Yeah, I would like to say hi to Coach Etal Tacorda,
Oh,
who's
coach.
watching
Hello,
us.
coach.
Gabriel Pulseco of Southridge, good evening. Helen Abrea, good evening, Coach Kalvin, sabi niya. Si Coach Montalvo Mateo is also
Oh, yeah.
hi to us. May message here si Coach Melky Villanueva. Sabi niya, Coach Calvin equipped me a lot, learned a lot, not only in basketball. Glad and thankful to
Oh.
be with Coach Calvin in Indonesia. We plan being a good cop and a bad cop. So may good cop, bad cop pa kayo ha.
Okay, coach. I'll explain.
Kwento mo nga yan, bakit
Yes,
nagkaroon ng good cop, bad cop na yan?
Okay, coach. So when NBA asked me to get coaches from the Philippines to bring outside, not just Indonesia, they didn't give me parameters. They trusted me that the program, you pick people who you think will fit. It's new experience for me. It's also my first time to do it officially, coaching and handling like Indonesian coaches, because it's easy if you do it on like a weekend. For example, the regional selection camp, it's just 3 days. National training camp, just 3 days. So it's easy on a short period. But this one requires you to be there for 1, 2, 3 months. So the initial contract will be around 6 months. Every day you need to go to different schools. You start from 7 in the morning, you end around 2 in the afternoon, and it's like visiting 5 schools every day. So it's not for everyone. And as you know, for example, in Indonesia, the conditions similar to Philippines, open court, it's a bit hot. So it's not really for everyone. So when I spoke to our junior NBA coaches, I selected a few. So I want to thank them and name them now. It's Coach Mel, is from Quezon, of course. Coach Ethel from Pasay. Coach Gary from Butuan. Coach Ferdinand from Mindoro. And Coach Matthew from
Iloilo.
Iloilo. Yeah, so these coaches, I selected them. They're from the junior NBA pool of coaches. So because every year we select the coach of the year, there's a coach of the year program. So every year we add to the pool of how many coaches are there to manage. So from them, of course, processing all this what you call this paperworks for us to work abroad. Um, we went there, and then we were given tasks that I think are not really easy. I can say from my experience, it's NBA standards. There's room for improvement, but usually there's parameters for failure. You need to be spot on with what you do, and mentoring them was hard because we were separated. Because Indonesia is so big. For example, I stay in Dagupan, Coach Mel stays in Tarlac, Coach Ethel stays in Quezon, but we're all from Luzon, just one island, but very far. We don't see each other. We just call, and then we do all these visits and all this every day. So the challenge is remotely managing people, and the other challenge is also remotely managing people from Indonesia, because it's easy for me to talk, for example, with our local coaches here, or Mel, Ethel, Matthew, Gary, and Ferdinand. But it's hard for us to communicate directly because, of course, there's cultural barrier, language barrier also, and we have to work with not just a few, but like many coaches. The ratio, for example, is for 100 schools, there's one local coach. And for 10 local coach, around 10, there's one international coach. And I'm the lead international coach, and then you have the international coaches, and you have the local coaches. So in one session, if there's 2,000 attendees, 2,000 teachers, the 2,000 teachers will be represent schools. Let's say 1,500 schools. Then we need around 15 coaches. Those 15 coaches needs to be managed by us, and it's hard because it's also very far. So the good cup and the bad cup we were talking about was, I don't mind being the bad cup because Coach Mel is so nice, you know. So when we were there, like I'm the one that's stickler for rules. Need to do this, need to do this way, and then Coach Mel will be the friendly one to talk with local coaches and all this, because the culture is very different. The way we work, or the tasks for us, most this one I can, by experience I can say, Filipino coaches work more than what's asked of them. And you cannot blame us because we love basketball, right? For the other countries, especially if they're not really familiar with the job, they're familiar with NBA, but they're not familiar with what they really need to do on ground. So there were times when local coaches will join us after 2 days, will resign. Then we need to get another coach. So it's tough, it's hard, but I'm so glad that I have these coaches with me.
Galing, galing. Yun pala yung good cup, bad cup niya.
Hmm.
Yeah. Ito, si Coach Ethel Tacorda and Coach Rain Olarte is basically really thanking you for really being a help to them, a good role
Oh,
model to them. So there must be something really good in you. That's why there's all these good words are coming from the good coaches. Imagine, these are good coaches, and yet they're good coaches and darling good stuff on you, di ba? So, yun nga. Sobrang ikaw yung parang naging role model nila, 'di ba? Ano pa yung feeling mo, yung mentorship na kaya mo ibigay sa mga coaches natin na Filipino? Let's not go first to sa Indonesia and other
yeah.
what can they get more from you, as a
Okay.
mentor?
Okay. Um, two things, Coach. One, of course, I'm thankful. They trusted me because, of course, age plays a factor. I'm a bit on the younger side compared to them. They have, I think, more coaching experience than me handling teams. Most of them, they were asking me, Coach, why don't coach a team? So I was asked like years before to be a head coach of different schools. The only problem I see is I want to explore more, because once you, I think head coaching is one of the most serious and the most important job you can take. So if you're not really with undivided attention and really focusing on detail, don't take it. Maybe start as an assistant coach or a trainer. So I don't go and handle kids directly, but I handle coaches who handle kids. And I think that pathway was fortunately NBA like entrusted to me. So right now, for example, I'm handling all the coaches for junior NBA. Every time they need something from Hong Kong, for example, or from NBA Philippines, they will ask me, Calvin, can we do this with the coaches? How many coaches can we call? How many kids can we ask these coaches to do? So I was given a spot where I can at least influence them or at least be the bridge between NBA Philippines, NBA Asia, and their programs and these coaches. Because what's good with NBA, they remember coaches, they remember the efforts. For example, in junior NBA, the coach of the year program, it started like a competition for coaches. Eventually, it evolves into those who are volunteering their time, those who are going to different areas and teaching kids. Those are the ones we reward as coach of the year finalists. So, for example, Coach Bujing, you want to be part of the junior NBA program. So we just do a background check, and then after we do a background check with you, we train you for a few days. We give you equipment, and then you go to your area, go somewhere like you think you can be an inspiration to that area. And as for the NBA, to thank you, we want to invite you for the Coach of the Year program where we train you more. So out of, for example, 50 coaches for this year, we select the 10, and then the 10 we train them together with the kids, and then the best male and the best female we send abroad. So what the coaches can expect from me more, especially for the junior NBA coaches, I will always be here. If you need questions about the program, of course, you will always be the first to know. And NBA Philippines and NBA Asia appreciates all of you, all your help, everything that you do for the program. Without you guys, we will not reach like 50,000 kids, 35 to 50,000 kids every year without you, because we are from 16 schools. Now we are like 9 cities, 5 to 9 cities every year, with thousands of kids joining. It will be impossible without the coaches. And on a personal note, outside of NBA, if you ask me, Coach, how I can help them with, I will be appointed a position with the Basketball Coaches Association of the Philippines, and I'm very thankful for that. So we are working on some guidelines and some seminars. It's in the works to at least unify or standardize the knowledge for grassroots. So maybe they tap me because they know that my passion is really for the grassroots program, not just here, but at least in Asia. I can compare and contrast. I can say what may work, what may not work, because I've traveled Philippines just for NBA. So my experience with that one, I can translate to the Basketball Coaches Association, and I will help the coaches also to what you call this, to be part of that one. Because usually, coach, if they don't know anyone, this is my personal experience. I have friends from provinces. They will always say thank you to me, because they always say that because some coaches from Manila, they don't really pay attention to the coaches in the province, and they are always the last to know. If there's an offer for anything, they're always the last to know. So if you notice, coach, the people I sent abroad were not from Manila. Coach Mel,
Yeah.
Coach Ethel is from Pasay, but the rest, they're from the province, because that's my mission. I didn't tell them, but my mission was, if I send, for example, Coach Gary abroad, then what will happen is when he goes back to Butuan, maybe he feels more confident, and maybe he spreads the message more to his area, because I think we have so many coaches who are good, but the problem is they're not connected to anything in the central like area. So that's my plan.
Ganda, ganda, ganda plano mo. You know, that's a very good platform. Draymond Borromeo is saying, good evening, Coach Mujing and Coach Calvin and all the coaches here watching. Proud to be part of junior NBA programs and with the great coaches in the Philippines. This program has helped me a lot, especially Coach Calvin, Coach Carlos, and Mom JJ.
Ma'am JJ is
Mabuhay
my
po kayo.
wife. Yeah. So the thing with this one, coach, it became a part of me. For example, coach, since 2007, I have not celebrated a birthday alone. Because it's February 23. Every time it's my birthday, I'm always somewhere, not here or maybe abroad. Because it's like from January to April, that's the time for junior NBA, not just here, but also in other countries. So my family also understands the work. My wife also, what I did, I pulled my wife, she's a civil engineer, she's from LaSalle. So I pulled her and I asked her to help me manage the coaches because sometimes I cannot answer everyone. I need some information from them, and she's very good with organization. So that's what maybe Coach Draymond was mentioning. So JJ has been my partner since the start, and she understands that this is a more of a vocation or advocacy, maybe more than a full-time job, but the time it takes is like it eats up your focus. But because she's with me, so I can do more things, because she helps me with the stuff that usually I don't find time with. So again, for example, Coach Draymond Borromeo, so he's from Mekawayan also, my hometown. So every time I come home, he always invites me to go to his team to teach. um, uh, and thankfully, there in Bulacan, for example, there are schools that I teach. Usually I don't really tell it to everyone, but I teach, for example, 2 months every day. But I'm not the head coach. I'm not like an athletics director or anything. It's more of like they hire me to teach them, and then when you see them applying it, or trying to adapt to your system, it makes you proud. But again, as I said, my proudest thing maybe of being in this organization is I'm so proud of the coaches I work with, because it's like if if I can touch one coach, for example, every month, just spend one hour. Some coaches I speak to them on the phone like for about anything for 4 hours, 3 hours, doesn't really matter, because I consider them my friends. Maybe some of them will always call me like, sir or coach or all this, but for me it's like we're all in the same boat. we all want the same thing. So yeah.
Ayan. Coach Darius Crenshaw of Muntinlupa, PYD Fleet Admiral saying hi also and salute Coach Calvin. So
Thank
marami
you.
talagang coaches na talagang wants to be under your mentorship, no? Because junior NBA has really grown big and ang ganda talaga ng approach ng junior NBA. Siguro na lang advice mo sa mga kids, not only the coaches, during this pandemic, how can they be sharp, you know, um, and also how can they be productive with this time of our situation right now?
Okay. So for me, coach, I always do. Some of the coaches already know my method. Everything you need to learn or everything you need to do, you split it 70-30-10. Yeah. So sorry, 70-20-10. So my 70-20-10 rule is like this, especially for kids. For example, okay, uh, assuming there's a kid named Paulo. Okay, so Paulo is a newbie to basketball, or he wants to learn. You need to list down 70-20-10. You need to list down. This is what you can do at home. List down 3 things you are good at, that you think you are good at, 3 things you are bad at, but you want to improve, and one thing that's new for you, you haven't tried before. Why is it important to follow this thing? First, it's self-assessment. You can assess what you want, what you think you're wrong with, and something new. Then what do you do? So, for example, Paolo wants to shoot. He wants to shoot. So if in his strength, shooting is part of his strength, dribbling is part of his weakness, for example, and something new is maybe a step back jumper. When you have only 1 hour at home, because you have household chores, you have homework and all this, but you can work out for 1 hour, what do? My advice for you, you work on your strength first. Because most coaches, I think this is where I am different, will tell you to work on your weakness. I will always tell you work on your strengths first, because your strengths must be a given. Every time you have a ball, you need to be able to do something which you are really good at and you practice 70% of the time. Coach, what about my weakness? Then you spend 20% of your time to develop that weakness. Eventually, you can make it a strength. And then something new. So I'll give you example. I'm Paolo. I have a ball. I have 1 hour. If I do dribbling, because that's my weak part, for 30 minutes, and I do my step back for 20 minutes, and my normal shooting, I only do 20 minutes, I already know that I'll just put it on the back burner. What will happen is eventually your body, your mindset will transfer from what you already know to something new or something that you're weak at. So what's happening is your strength will now be diminished, and maybe your dribbling, because you do it more time, will be high. What happens is you become an average for both, and then your step back will be something of your weakness because you can already do it. It's not something new anymore. It becomes your weakness. So what happens is you lose a weapon. So my advice for kids, you cannot be everything. No one is everything, even the superstars. For example, you can say, for example, James Harden. I say James Harden is a good scorer, he's a good shooter, he's a good step back jumper, but is his defense good? We don't know. I'm not saying no, I'm just saying that maybe he's not as good as the others. So do you think when he works out his defense? I think still works on more of his strength. For example, Stephen Curry. When Stephen Curry is the best shooter currently. So I saw him work out when he was here. So during the Stephen Curry tour. So I saw him work out. He can dunk. Everyone knows he can dunk, but he doesn't do it. He doesn't even spend time doing it in training because it doesn't translate to his game. So can you imagine? I'm Stephen Curry. I'm already the best shooter. And when I train, I spend more than 50% of my time still shooting. Because for me, that's more important than the other aspect of my game. I think this goes for team players now because you have a role in your team. Now, if you're a beginner, of course, you need to learn the basic for everything first. Basic for everything. But if you're something that you already know strengths and weakness, meaning at least you can already do stuff, but you're more familiar with this than this one, you need to list it down. So the 70-20-10 rule, I applied it with many teams. I applied it with clubs and here and abroad. And most coaches, their kids, when they give their homework, they can track the progress easier. Even the kids, they already know. I spent too much time on this one. I need to spend more time on this. So it because right now, coach, I'm telling this because remotely, we are not there as coaches. We are not there to monitor them. So maybe we have a online training for 30 minutes to 1 hour, but the rest of the day we don't know what they're doing. So if they have time, for example, they have 3 hours, then work on your strength for 70%, 20% for your weakness, and 10% for something new. That's my advice for kids. It's a bit technical, but that's how you learn stuff.
That's a big help, basically getting really know yourself,
Yes, coach.
this thing of this pandemic, di ba? Kailangan talaga, the things that you do normally, you have to do it harder. And the things that you don't know what you don't do is better do it now and learn. Di
Yeah.
ba? Yun talaga yung magandang nangyayari ngayon during this pandemic.
Yes, coach.
Coach Dave, busy saying hi to you
Oh,
all the
coach.
way from Bacolod. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about your advice to the other coaches? The
Mm.
young coaches, not the and because I know a lot of coaches you handled in NBA coaches.
Yes, coach.
Learns a lot from you. How about the new coaches, our viewers who want to learn from you and your advice to them? Now it's pandemic. What can they do besides merely watching YouTube and everything? How can they assess themselves and learn?
Okay. So coach, I consider two types of coaches. One is the elite coach. When I say elite, it doesn't mean old. Elite means you handle a team, 15 kids. That's your day in, day out. So you're handling a team. Not all coaches are like that. Some coaches, they handle a camp. For example, like 100 kids every Saturday. So, but of course, it's pandemic, right? So, whether you're a team coach or an elite coach geared towards tournament, or you're a grassroots coach developing fundamentals for mass number of kids, now because of this pandemic, we need to do something. So, if you're not part of the Junior NBA, I'm inviting you to visit the website. The website, Junior NBA Asia, there's curriculum at the bottom on the left side. The curriculum starts from rookie, starter, um, MVP, and All Star level. Those four. It includes all the drills. It includes values formation. It includes fun games. So if you're a new coach and you want to start from scratch, that one is a good step-by-step guide on how to do it. Of course, you need to pick and choose which drills you need. Now, if you're a bit familiar with drills and you can run drills, of course, as you said, coach, don't just spend time on YouTube. You need to be able to search for what you need because YouTube has like millions of videos. You cannot just absorb and absorb and absorb everything and then filter. The problem right now, coach, with this pandemic, there's now multitudes of information. Like, for example, the webinar that we are doing right now, there's like 3 webinars I already spoke to. Before there was nothing like this, but with all these multitudes of information, now it's harder to filter. You cannot just listen to one speaker and think that you can apply it. So I think what you can do as coaches, aside from following maybe this guideline, you can follow the one from, for example, Australia basketball or Canada basketball. They already have this curriculum for young kids. Be a purposeful searcher. When you go to YouTube, don't just go to the recommended things. You need to specifically search for the drill that you want. Don't just be there and very passive. Okay, I'll try this. I'll try this. No, I want this. So try to assess yourself and look and search because first, YouTube is a very good source of information. For example, Coach Junior NBA, we have more than 600 videos there for free. All the drills explained in different languages with the cones and everything from the time, how to score, everything is there for games and drills. If you don't want that one, you have the FIBA page, you have the Japanese Basketball Association page, you have our SBP page and NBTC page. You have all these things for you, but they will always say, it's burnout, too much information, too many things because you are not searching for what you want. You're just sitting there and waiting. These seminars for this seminar. Be mindful of your time. So if you can only be on YouTube or on social media for 1 hour as a coach, make sure that that 1 hour counts to your system. So if you're planning for youth, I advise spend that 1 hour to watch YouTube videos for youth system. Of course, it's so fun to watch, NBA highlights, European basketball highlights, PBA highlights, but you cannot apply this to your system. So don't waste your 1 hour. You can do that for your free time when you really have free time. So be mindful of your time. This pandemic gives us lots of time because most of the people are at home, but it also dampens the research process for coaches because it makes research so like people become lazy because they're just at home. I think, and by the way, coach, I want to share this one. During the start of the pandemic, um, this is the hardest one I studied. Again, we are creating a book, right? So you need to study per chapter, what to put in the book, what to remove, because there's so many information. I need to run my system also. So my system, Coach Mel, for example, knows my system and how I teach. For example, I use Read and React. I have 30 layers. I focus on my first 12 because every time I teach, usually you will only get to layer 15 above when you're already spending 1 year, 2 years with them. The first 12 is enough because in a play, maybe just the first 3 layers will be enough for 24 seconds. You don't really need to run too deep. But the thing with this one, if there's pandemic and nothing to do, this is the best time for you to create your own set. It's very good to copy. All coaches are thieves. We are robbers, we get from everyone. But don't try to apply everything you hear. You need to really understand and go deep before trying to apply it. That's my advice, coach. Sorry it's long, but that's my advice.
No. I practically understand. I can relate with you, and it's very nice so that the new coaches and us coaches, get that idea of really trying to filter things. Tama ka, dami ngayon, a podcast like this,
Yes, coach.
webinars, ang dami. Pero before, talagang, I mean, when we had this sports all in 4 years ago, parang, it's just really more on informative, but the platform is really to educate people, most especially give chance to the provinces, just like you, the
Yes,
people,
coach.
the sports na hindi masyado nare-recognize, the coaches, we want them to give the feeling that I also belong, not just because na malayo ako, wala na akong ano. Yun. Pero syempre dahil sa pandemic, ang daming nagsulputan eh. Lahat
Yes, coach.
magagaling na coaches, kung ano-ano, but I agree with you, it's really knowing what you want. That's the very important thing. Knowing
And
what you
coach,
want.
this is my first webinar, by the way, that I attended. That's an open. There's no questions prepared. There's really nothing. It's just more of like we talk and share. Because I think as coach, another advice for you is don't be too, like for example, you know something. Don't be too like I'm the only one who knows this. Is a kept secret. I need to keep it secret. Otherwise, I will lose or I will. The more you share, the better you get.
Agree. I agree. Diba? Kaya nga, parang ang dating is, you really have to open up, empty your knowledge. Once you're
Yes, coach.
empty, the thing that you will do is try to fill it up again. Then you gain a new knowledge. It's really
Yes, coach.
try to open better. I like your idea. Ako mas gusto ko yung sharing and talking
Yes,
because
coach.
it's really more on learning and we keep on talking. Hindi yung ito dapat ganito. Kasi pag may set of questions ka, you already know what you're gonna answer. It
Yes,
doesn't
coach.
bring out the best in you because pinag-aralan mo yan eh. But it comes out natural pagka tinanong ka ng isang sitwasyon na parang feeling mo, oops, napapaisip ka. And that makes you better coach. Diba? Ayan.
Yes,
Meron pa
coach. And
bumabati sa'yo eh.
again, I want to take this.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, meron pa ako. No, coach,
Hindi,
I want to
coach.
take this opportunity to thank you for this one. Um, I assume, coach, I haven't seen you in practice, but this is my when I always go to when I want to become friends with a coach. I always ask, can I visit your practice? This is my personal like really what I do. The coaches, the one I work with, already know this. I want to visit their practice because you cannot get some because some coaches like this. Oh, coach, you coach in the PBA. Can I pick your brain? Can I ask you something that I can apply to my team? That's actually a sinkhole because maybe I say something that will not work for you because I haven't seen you practice. I don't know your team. So if you're put in a position, for example, you coach Bujin, I know you already influence a lot of coaches and a lot of kids. And I see the way you communicate. That's why I said I haven't seen you in practice, but I think you spend time talking to the kids because some coaches they stick to their X and O's. They're very strict with their time plan, but they don't really spend time talking to the kids or learning from them. As you said, when there's an open setup and they ask questions, you learn from each other. But there are some coaches who want their practices or their teams to be more of like a you need to believe me, this is for you. That's not wrong. It's purely entirely correct. It's just that what you call this, you need to make sure that you as a coach you also surround yourself with people who share the same view as you, because otherwise what will happen is you will confuse the kids. You will confuse the kids. Where I'm getting at, for example, coach, um, I'm coaching a women's team, so they trust me, I trust them, we do a practice together. Then I ask a national team coach, a friend of mine or someone who visits, who runs their own program for basketball for women's. And then I see their video, it works with them. When I see their practice, their video clips like run perfect, smooth. And when I get back and my kids cannot do it, I feel frustrated with them because it's two things. Maybe they cannot do it. Maybe the way I speak is wrong, or maybe it's an entirely different thing. That's why usually you need to surround yourself with people who share the same vision as you or who understands you and your team. So, coach, hopefully after this pandemic, I can visit you and maybe see your team in practice or something.
Sure. I would love to. 'Di ba?
Yeah.
Marami tayong dapat pagkwentuhan. And
Yes,
si
coach.
Coach Matthew Montalvo is really saying a lot of good things with you. You know, you can read this after.
Okay, coach.
Lay Olarte also saying hi and super thank you, extending help and salute basketball clinic. Coach FM,
Oh,
Ferdinand
coach.
Madrigal is
Yeah.
also saying hi and thank you.
Coach
One of your most energetic coach,
yeah. So,
Coach FM.
coach, for example, Coach FM, coach, just cut me anytime if you need to ask question or I need to cut my talk. I'm just babbling.
It's
Coach
okay. It's
FM, for
okay.
example, it's his first time to fly. He told me he's nervous. I told him, Coach, don't worry. I'll fly with you. So we flew together. You know, when we landed, Coach, he was sick. He was so sick. He cannot sleep because maybe jet lag or maybe because it's his first time to fly. And he lives very far. He's not from Manila, so he needs to travel by boat first to the port of Batangas, travel from Batangas to the airport. So I can only imagine his problem of travel. And he needs to get his passport in Manila and all this. And he was saying, Coach, do you really think I can do it? Because you just get another coach. There's so many coaches to choose from. Why choose me? And I told him, no, coach, let's do this. And then we were there. I was angry at him, not because he cannot do anything or he's bad, but I'm angry because he doesn't believe in himself. So I was like, Coach, we are here. You know, when people are looking at you, even if you're thinking that you're not, for example, good with English, you're not too sure if the way you look is good, forget about that one. Focus on what you need to do. And I was really pushing him. And the thing is, every time I push him and he replies to me like, Coach, there was one time we were already a bit emotional because he said this is his first like a job outside and he misses home. He misses home because we were there for months, cannot go home.
Yeah.
Then every time I speak to him, he will always tell me like he doubts himself. And when you're in that position, that maybe it's better to just let him do what he wants. Maybe he really wants to go home. I'll just talk to NBA and then replace him with another coach. But to be honest, and this one I haven't told him, but I will tell him now, or maybe he's listening. I learned more from him than he learned from me because how do I put this? When I see him and he's telling me his opportunity, I'm like, we were crying, me and Coach FM, because he's so thankful. I'm sorry about this opportunity. Sorry. So I said, Coach FM,
I
we
feel
need
you.
to talk. Like, you make me so blessed that I can be of help to you because I'm put in a position where I can change someone's life. I can choose someone else. I can just make it easy. But he stuck with it. And the feedback. He was paired with a Australian coach, a WNBA player, Coach Katrina Hebert, Coach Frog. The feedback from Coach Katrina after 1 month with me, and then after the next month, he was with Coach Katrina, was Coach Calvin. Coach FM was the best coach for this one. He's really energetic with kids. He's always doing this. Now he has a YouTube channel. He's doing drills. He's like a Coach FM basketball. Like earlier, he posted a video about V cut, how to make a V cut. Like explaining, faking like this. For me, it's like, see, from before that he's not even believing in himself. Now he's like, it's good. So for me, it's like, and another thing, for example, Coach Ethel. Now Coach Ethel is a assistant coach for JRU. Coach Mel. Coach Mel was telling me, Coach, need help with the seminars, the webinars. Then he sent me, Coach, this is a letter. Can you help me edit stuff, like send to the guests, like an official letter because he's not familiar with doing it. For me, it's like the trust that they gave me, like, I'm so happy that I met these people. Coach Gary, always Coach Matthew, like they always say, Coach Rain, Coach everyone, like they always tell me like, Coach, we're thankful you're there, but to be honest, without them, I'll be like, I'm lost because they teach me a lot. They teach me to be humble. They teach me to be thankful of where I am. So just I forgot FM. So I was like, Coach F, this one you can ask him later or you can message him. He was so emotional and he was crying. Coach Gary also, because these people, they were telling me they're from the province. Why would you pick us? Like we were nothing, we were no one. I was like, everyone, we're on the same boat. Let's just help each other. So that's like what I want to share. Maybe that's why your question, like why they like say good things. I'm not actually the one good. It's more of like they trust me enough, 2 months, 6 months without their family, and they entrust everything to me. What if something happens to them there? Like what if something happens to their family when they're away? So for me, it's like the trust that they give me is like thank you so much, coaches. Yeah.
I the feeling that I get right now, I will trust you more. The
Thank you,
emotions
coach.
that the feeling that you burst out, it was true to you. That's a leader. A leader always brings out the best in you and brings out the best in me. So yung emotions na pinakita mo, lahat and everything, I'm pretty sure they're very proud of you more. They're very proud of you. I respect you more. Kasi, well, iba eh. Iba. You're basically a true person. Yun yung maganda sa'yo. And I hope that someday I will be able to meet you personally and hopefully work with you.
Coach.
Hopefully work with you. Diba? And doon sa mga coaches, yan, nagme-message pa rin sila, nami-miss ka na nila, and thank you sila sa iyo talaga. And ako, I personally would like to thank you, kasi, I was a young kid, I was a young coach before, and syempre, hirap yung pinagdaanan ko, and you gave these people a chance. Yun yung kinakailangan eh. Minsan yung chance lang yun, people that pagkatiwalaan sila, yun lang ang kailangan. So these coaches na pinagkatiwalaan mo, you change their lives. So I thank you for that. Yeah. I hope you will be able to change more lives, for better. Like PYD, Pinoy Youth Dreamers, ang motto namin is touching hearts, changing lives. So yun talaga yung pinakaano namin, tagline, because we wanted to really change people's lives. And I, like you, I appreciate you so much, and sobra, thankful ako, thankful.
Yes, coach. Coach, for example, just going back to, for example, for all of us, especially for example, Coach FM. For example, Coach, he even needs to buy a phone there and learn how to use applications. Kasi hindi siya familiar with, with these things. Talagang tawag dito yung transformation. If tatanungin mo ako kung parang saan ako proud, hindi kung where I went to, saan ka nakarating, Japan, China, kung saan ka nagpunta, yung binabayad sa'yo, kung ano man. It's more of, ito yung sa akin, may isa lang akong ganito. Saya na ako. Na isang tao na natulungan, kahit pa paano na nagtiwalas, natulungan.
Coach, marami pa yan sila. I'm pretty sure marami pa yan sila. And good job. Congratulations in what you
Salamat,
did.
Coach.
And I know you're going to help a lot more. So, sa akin na lang siguro, Coach, ito yung sitwasyon na parang kailangan natin magpasalamat sa ating mga taong tumulong na sa'yo, na that tumulong sa'yo to where you are now. This is the right time to say thank you. And also to say thank you to your sponsors. Diba? Pasalamat tayo sa mga whoever help you carry, pull you up to where you are now?
Yes, coach. Syempre first, pasalamatan ko muna yung wife ko, si JJ, kasi she's been there. She understands me. Um, she actually said like, why not choose a different job? You know, something that pays more, something more stable. I told her, um, what you call this? I'm happy with what I'm doing, and pinayagan niya ako. So hanggang ngayon, then syempre salamat din. Thank you for NBA for giving me the chance until now. Since then, um, they they always tell me like you're one of the like associated, or they already know you as part of NBA. But I'm not a regular employee of the NBA. Like I just try my best to represent them. But like for me, it's like the honor is of choosing me or using me to help other people, to help other kids. I'm so thankful for that one. And of course, you have the coaches that I work with. Mahirap isa-isa yan kasi marami talaga sila. So alam na nila, meron kaming mga groups. Kaya maraming salamat. Every time I request something or I ask like a help for a favor for this one, they're always there for me. Um, Mentors, mga coaches na mentors, maraming salamat sa time at saka sa ano niyo sa akin. For example, sa coaches, especially because of basketball. For example, Coach Louie. Coach Louie has been my partner since he joined around 2011 for Junior NBA and also president of BCAP now. And he asked me to help him with his endeavor. So thank you, Coach. Tawag dito, we need to work, we need to work on things for the coaches, as we say nga, para sa coaches. And it's pro bono, by the way, just doing it for free. We just try to help out. And then of course the coaches from NBA, Coach Carlos, Coach Natalia, Coach Rob, thank you very much. From the events team, Richie before, Sasha, Zaline, and then from NBA Philippines, of course, Mr. Carlos Singson, although he left NBA Philippines already, and everyone in NBA Philippines, my friends there, May, Pat, Jandrick, Aleco, Chi, Donna, everyone there. It's so nice to be part of something bigger than yourself. So uh, as long as I can do it and they trust me, I will just continue doing it. And thank you for your time, Coach Bujing, for this one. It's very helpful for me for the whole pandemic. This has been my first like a real thing that I really want to share, because most people will ask me for topics, grassroots development, all these, my plays, my systems, but this one is more from the heart. So thank you very much for the time.
It's really more on us getting to know people, getting to know you more, para talagang mas malaman nila why the coaches value you a lot. Diba? So ako, thankful ako na meron kagaya mo na talaga ready to tumulong sa mga coaches, no? And I think the coaches nowadays needs more like you. And hopefully the rest of the coaches na dumaan sa'yo will do the same way. The value of sharing. Diba? Sabi nga, empty the knowledge and gain another knowledge. Diba?
Yes, Coach.
So, thank you for that. And also, shout out to Coach Louis Gonzalez, our president of Big Cup. Maraming salamat sa'yo, Coach Louis. Who's also a good friend of mine. And ito, gusto ko lang magpasalamat din also sa mga coaches and to all our viewers who've been watching Sports All In. And Coach Ethel Tacorda is still saying thank you to you. So you can probably read it na lang. Medyo mahaba siya, Coach. And ayun, Coach, meron ka pa bang parting words before we can, before we end our show? Meron ka pa bang gusto
Yes.
batiin,
Yes, Coach.
sabihin?
Okay, Coach. Just want to go back for the what you call this, for the pandemic side of it. Um, I know some coaches there. Some of them even ask me, Coach, are we allowed to practice? You see, even the information, they trust me that I will give them the proper information. I will not mislead them or will just push them like wrong information. They can watch the news, but they rather get it from me. So thank you for the trust. So coaches, if you are doing training today or this time, um, just be mindful of the guidelines by of course by the government. Safety first. If there's like only 5 maximum or 3 maximum, especially if it's a public place, just always remember, coach, that we cannot see our enemy. That's the problem. We cannot risk the kids. So if you're practicing in a uh, private court, maybe you can add more players. Just make sure that you follow protocols, you follow safety, because parents trust us. Don't break their trust that we need to take care of their kids also. And end of the day, sports is just one of what they need to learn. Discipline is another thing. So if for example their community, the government, or their parents are not allowing them to do something, as coaches we need to be creative. I want to train you, but your parents are not allowing you to do so. So I need to do something with you, call you, make video conference one-on-one with you because you cannot join. Don't take it against the kids if they don't want to join. It's not about who wants it more. Like, no, this kid wants it more because pumupunta siya sa practice kahit na bawal, ganyan. No, we cannot be like that. During this pandemic, I'm talking about this pandemic only. Hopefully it eases up. Sana by mga towards the end of the year. So those asking about junior NBA, we will always update you regularly kung ano na yung update. And of course, I need to help promote also is the playoffs now. So watch NBA. So NBA is a good organization. They're really trying their best to keep the events and the sports alive. Hopefully, maybe the PBA can copy or the local leagues here. I don't know. So my parting words would be safety first for everyone, and for coaches, this is our time to be more creative. We have our time in our hands. We need to be more creative. So when we start the next year, once this pandemic is over, we're like a refreshed and re-energized and very hungry to perform and help kids develop. Thank you, Coach Bujing, again. Thank you so much.
Last na, Coach. Paano ka namin marireach? What's your social media? So if there are new coaches who would like to learn from you, be mentored with you, ano yung dapat naming
Yes, Coach.
contact?
Kalvin Sangalang, Kalvin Kel Sangalang, but please drop a message kasi medyo madami yung hindi ko, kapag may message, mababasa ko kasi from where tsaka saan. And also, Coach Calvin on Instagram. Everything is free. Don't worry about the thing. Time spent with a new friend is always treasured. And sana, not just me, reach out to Coach Bujing, reach out to all the good coaches, the mentors that we have. What you call this? If you want to reach me personally, so Coach Calvin, my email is calvinsangalang, just my name @gmail.com, and Coach Calvin on Instagram.
Ayun. Thank you, Coach Kalvin.
Thank you, Coach.
Kami rin, po-promote namin yung YouTube channel ng Pinoy Youth Dreamers. Pinutap namin to also for free because we want to teach yung para talaga to sa mga public school sa mga beginners. So, yung iba might see this boring kasi syempre detailed step by step, may mga instructional video siya, but eventually it will pick it up, it will be progressive. So it's Pinoy Youth Dreamer, so you just want to check it out. And also this interview of ours will be in YouTube also, Sports All In, so you can watch this. And pagka na-miss mo yung kwentuhan natin, Coach Calvin, pwede mo pa na rin sa YouTube.
Yes,
pwede rin sa Facebook.
I watched the interviews of the other coaches, Coach Raymond Mercader, Coach Gary here also. I watched Coach Jeff also, Ariaso. Coach, may pala ako. I'll take this opportunity, especially when you said that you're doing this YouTube online training, right, for kids. I was asked 2 weeks ago to be a consultant for the International Association of Physical Education and Sports. So the headquarters is in Thailand, but they put up a Philippines chapter just this month. So I will be speaking there on August 29. I also invited other coaches from abroad to speak. Their focus is mainly about, they're talking about, doctors of sports science and all this, but more of the educators, the schools, because they need to be adapted to what's the new normal and all this. If I may invite you also, Coach, I'll send you an email or a message after this one. Hopefully, maybe towards the end of the year to speak and maybe help, because they invited me for the talk about grassroots, but they also want something for basketball in time of pandemic, specifically about pandemic, like what you're doing, helping kids and all this video thing for monitoring their progress. So that one, Coach, I think that will be a better and better exposure for them to see what you've been doing for these past years. So because coach, I mentioned that one, coach, because there are many other like coaches who's been doing this, but not as organized. Like usually they just do it for their team, like 4 people, 5 people, or just 10 people, not like on your scale. So hopefully I can invite you for that one, coach.
Thank you, thank you. Anytime. Basta tulong-tulong, wala problema.
Yes, coach.
Ayun, again, coach, mag-ingat ka dyan, ha? Sobrang
Yes,
mag-ingat ka.
coach.
The rest of the coaches, konti na lang, konti na lang.
Konti na lang, yes, coach.
Fourth quarter na tayo. Fourth quarter na tayo, coaches. Mga kababayan, fourth quarter na, huwag na tayong maging aggressive. Huwag na tayong tumarap at gumambol. Diba? Sumuna muna tayo. Mag-relax muna tayo. Let's play zone. This is not the time for fast break. Diba? Konti
Yes,
na lang. And we'll be there. Diba? So, Coach, ingat ka regards to your family and to the NBA.
Yes, coach. Thank you.
Maraming salamat. You guys have been a big help. Yun.
Thank you, coach.
Thank you, Coach. Mag-ingat ka.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, coach.
Bye, Coach.
Bye, coach.
Break through a world where big data beats your worries. A world that gives you priority when innovations come. This is the GigaLife on Smart Signature. Simplified by the Philippines' fastest mobile data network. The choice is simple. Move up to Smart Signature and make your mark. How do I know it's meant to be? Simple, smart ako.